So today we are going to have an analysis of one more topic, COVID-19 and its relation with the environmental protection. The context of this analysis is that we are witnessing an increasing number of zoonotic diseases, that is diseases having origin from animals. For example, Nipah virus crisis was there in Kerala in recent times. This Nipah virus got transmitted from bats to pigs and then to humans. Similarly, the ongoing COVID-19 crisis is also a zoonotic disease. Thus, we are witnessing pathogens found in wild animals are making way to humans. The foremost cause of this is increasing interface between humans and wild species. This is largely because of two causes, environmental related and economy related. Although both are not disjoint, rather there is overlapping between both these causes. However, for simplicity, let us see them separately. The first one is environment related cause. We know that there is large scale deforestation, habitat destruction, poaching, climate change, etc. All this has led to shrinking of a space for wildlife. An increasing man-animal conflict is there. Let us see some specific examples of this. In the wake of this climate change, drought conditions are prevailing, and given water stressed conditions, in search of water, wild animals are coming in close proximity of human habitations. Similarly, in search of prey or food, also wild animals are moving towards human habitations. Now let us see the economic related cause. We see there is road building activity in forest areas, similarly mining activities in forest areas, forestry related activities are there like timber production. And then there is also this very important point that global trade in wild animals, wild species is also there, such as for human consumption. The Wuhan seafood market is one very good example of this, from where this COVID-19 crisis has emerged. The result of all this is that wild animals are coming closer to humans and domestic animals. The viruses being carried by wild animals are now finding ready hosts in domestic animals, and from these domestic animals they are getting transmitted to human beings. There are two important concerns then. The first is the humans have not developed herd immunity to many of these viruses found in wild animals. For example, the ongoing COVID-19 crisis itself, there is no herd immunity, and at the same time there is no vaccine, no medicine, and that's why the situation is getting worse. Secondly, such new viruses are coming every now and then. Having discussed this link between environment and wildlife destruction and the emergence of zoonotic diseases, now let us briefly see why such destruction is becoming a norm. Gandhiji said that the world has enough for need but not for greed. However, human beings have failed to discriminate between this need and greed, and this can be substantiated with some points also. For example, for economic growth, we see these undisturbed landscapes as impediments. For example, this Panna Tiger Reserve issue and Ken Betwa project issue was there. Similarly, we are focusing on short-term growth, though this is needed for job creation and economic development, but we are ignoring the long-term aspects also in terms of environmental protection. For example, we can see there is dilution of environmental clearance system. In sometimes back we saw in news that the coastal regulation zone notification of government was relaxed. It is one such example. Thirdly, and this is very important aspect, that we are seriously flouting the concept of sustainable development. Of course, economy is needed, but we must respect the concepts of absorptive capacity and carrying capacity. And when we are not respecting these concepts, then there is no sustainable development. Absorptive capacity means that maximum amount of waste that can be naturally absorbed by environment on a sustainable basis. And the carrying capacity means that the size of population biomass that can be supported by available resources and the services in an ecosystem. Now what can be done? The most important thing is to understand the value of maintaining viable ecosystem and protection of biodiversity. This is very important. That's why now there is an emerging concept of greening the GDP also and natural capital accounting. That is, ecological services need to be valued and incorporated in traditional GDP calculation system. Here we can also make two specific points for our this ongoing discussion on controlling zoonotic disease, that is this COVID-19. Although these specific points are also corollary to any environment and wildlife protection related measures. The first is eliminating need for wild species, wild bats to colonize near human surroundings. And the second is the protection of pristine forests with diverse wild species which are carrying viruses. This is important. To conclude, we can say that environmental protection has a direct bearing on health protection. This COVID-19 crisis has proved this, and therefore it has a direct impact on human existence also. The ongoing COVID-19 has proved how environmental protection, health protection, and economic growth are directly linked. Therefore, there is need to incorporate economic development into environment. Thank you.